the Law Live Audio Wrestling on all of your podcast providers and right here on YouTube at the Law-Live Audio Wrestling. Make sure you click that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you pass it on to all of your friends and family members like a great Christmas gift. My name's Chris Tidwell. As usual, that is little Brady Wedham. And I got to talk to you, Brady, about I like certain things in life. I like little things in life. It's not, not many things in life that I do like. So it's a very small amount of things that I do like. And one of the things that everybody seems to know that I do like is tequila. Not just the drink, also the song. Probably my favorite karaoke song of all time. I nail it. Like, nail it. And if anybody knows about the song Tequila and the world of professional wrestling, you also know who Danhausen is. Because Danhausen has taken that song and turned that little Pee Wee Herman dance that he does on the ring apron into all of the dollars. When Danhausen first came onto the scene, that was his whole gimmick. He was like, give me all the dollars. I want all the dollars. And he went out there and he busted his ass week after week until he got a bunch of dollars. And it looks like, he had his time in AEW, but the rumor mill is abound. And we like to speculate on rumors. We don't say whether they're true or not because we don't fucking know, because we ain't journalists. We just like to have opinions. And the opinion of this show is that if Danhausen is gone from AEW, where does he go? What do you do with a Danhausen? Why do I sound like a really weird Jerry Seinfeld all of a sudden asking these questions? What's the deal with a Danhausen?
What do you do with that face? Danhausen, fantastic talent. Okay, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's start from the beginning. So, on the first day, God created the heavens and the earth. No, so Danhausen, we had met, I would say probably 2017. Is that when he came into the promotion that we were working with? Let's say 2017, just to run with it. But early, before AEW was even considered a thing.
Correct.
There was something about him from day one. Now, I know he worked a couple of years without this gimmick, and then he just gravitated to it. I forget the story of how it happened, but he instantly fit with this gimmick. And when he came up to Ontario here a few times, we noticed that, yes, he was still young, and yes, he was still starting out, but he had such a connection with the fans. He was clearing out his merch table. Like, there's only 150 people in the building, and he's going on with nothing. He's only been there a couple times. He's not a homegrown talent. He's just so unique. When the Rammstein music hit, the red light hit, he came out. He's wearing a tinfoil hat. And if anybody wants to see the match I'm talking about, it is actually a viral match. It's from Crossbody Professional Wrestling. You can go to YouTube, here on the YouTube machine. Crossbody Professional Wrestling, Psycho Mike versus Danhausen. And they have a psychic tinfoil hat match. I don't even know what to call it, but it shows his talents earlier before anybody before the spotlight was on him on such a massive stage, that this guy had it from day one. Danhausen has been selling so much merch since that day. I don't know how AEW got rid of him, but yeah, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, for those, just for a little bit of clarification, if you want to know what kind of characters were in this match, we know who Danhausen is. But if you have ever wanted to know who this Psycho Mike guy is, this is the same guy who had another video go completely viral all over TMZ and all over the internet for wrestling a dog. When a dog came in and beat up this wrestler, that's Psycho Mike. You've seen him do other things. You've seen him on Mystery Wrestling, where he's put over this gimmick where he does nothing but stare at the hard cam. Also something that he created at Crossbody Pro Wrestling, I'm just saying. But you see all of these things, and that's the kind of talent he is, Psycho Mike. And then you put him in there with the dikes of a Danhausen, and you just get pure comedy gold. Not to the point where it's like ridiculous, just for the sake of being ridiculous. This is smart stuff, like smart comedy inside of the world of professional wrestling while still having a professional wrestling match. It was fantastic.
Both of them are very Schrodinger-esque. They're very Kaufman-ish. Like they're, you know what I mean? They're inside of the joke, outside of the joke. It's like a sixth parallel walled joke that comes across as something so very cheesy and stupid, but if you break it down, you're like, holy, this is some Marx Brothers stuff. Like these guys have levels to this all built out, you know. So
Yeah.
that match was fantastic. But we knew since day one that Danhausen was going to be a good hand. Now, did I think he was going to get on a stage like AEW and be showcased the way that he was? I I couldn't have predicted that. To me that seemed crazy. But once he got there, and once you've seen the fan reaction on a mass scale, he's over, and he is a special, special individual when it comes to not only his character, but what he does inside of that ring.
Yeah, he's smart enough to know what he's able to do inside of the ring. Let's not get it twisted. His character and his gimmick is what gets him over. It's the stuff outside of the ring. It's the creepy little promos. It's the hand gestures. It's the yes. It's the jar of teeth. It's the whole persona of a Danhausen and the use of Hausen in everything that he says that makes him what he is. Now, if you ask somebody like RJ City, RJ is going to tell you he's the biggest piece of S in the world. But, that's just RJ.
Well, he does have a good friend pretty high up in that other company. So if there's anybody there that could be vouching for him and saying, hey, you guys want to sell some merch? I know a guy that can sell some t-shirts.
Okay, let's talk about that then. So we're talking obviously about Danhausen going to WWE.
Yeah.
Does WWE need a guy like Danhausen?
I don't think they need him, but I think if you're paying, okay, so picture this. Any event, doesn't matter what it is, but picture this. Just let me paint this little landscape in your vision. They're panning the crowd, and all you see in the middle of the crowd is just, and not front row, not second row, like third or fourth, but just this fucking Danhausen head, like a Where's Waldo, and they don't mention it. And then the next week, you see it again, and they're panning the camera, and you hear Corey Graves like, "Is that no?" And just do this for a little while. Every now and then, you just in the back, you just see someone walking down a hallway. You have to zoom in like 100 times to just see this little head pop around the corner. They could put the merch on sale then, not even say his name, and it would already clear out by the end of the night.
Maybe.
Danhausen is a merch machine, and the WWE, as much as they love in-ring talent, as much as they love charisma, they love anybody who can sell fucking merch. That's their thing. If we can merchandise it and put it on a coffee cup, put it on a 7-Eleven cup, and put it on an ice cream bar, this is what we're looking for.
Maybe we also live in a world that this is the reason it's been taken as long as it has, so that you can wait for this deal to finalize, and we actually find out that the whole reveal is Uncle Howdyhausen. Why not?
Jesus Christ, please don't do that.
Uncle Howdyhausen?
No, please don't do that.
Why not?
Don't do that. Come on. No, I think they've got the QR code and everything lined up. Uncle Howdyhausen, you're an asshole, man.
I know.
Like, there's a lot of times where you just take this seriously, and then you just do that. And you're just like, Howdyhausen. I'm going to make our listeners listen to my theory about how, and let's see if Brady's going to run with it, because we can probably get 7 minutes out of this Howdyhausen if I can trick this motherfucker right now to thinking that this is a good idea. No,
Listen,
we're not going to see Howdyhausen.
We already got 7 minutes out of how I fucking thought that torching somebody and hanging them from the rafters was a good idea. So Howdyhausen is going to be a thing.
No,
right?
Speaking of rumor mill, so how this happened and how this, because if you're like, oh my goodness, he sells so much merch, why would AEW let him go out the door? For one, AEW doesn't give a shit about making money off of merchandise sales because it just doesn't seem to be a thing that they care about.
Right.
Two, Danhausen, rumor mill says he was told to go from 3,000 USD per appearance, per indie show or per autograph signing to 5,000. American. It was raised on him, so he had to adjust bookings. Eventually, they found out that this is, like I said, this is just a rumor. Supposedly, Danhausen was doing some sneaky shit with merchandise. He was getting some merch and selling it on the side, autographing things, doing whatnots, doing online sales. And I guess for whatever reason, they thought that was sneaky. I don't think that's sneaky. I think that's somebody capitalizing on their own marketability. And if they're going to hustle and work, they should get paid for it. Especially if you're making millions off of their face, you think that's the least you could do is let them hustle. But I think there were some things in the back that stopped Danhausen from being on TV. I don't think it's as simple as like, well, he's a CM Punk guy. Now they're not going to use him. Yeah, okay, fuck you, Marks. This was some business shit. And Danhausen is a very good business oriented individual. He knows how to make money. He's been doing it for a long time. And I think AEW's like, they had some sort of conflicting interest. And this is why you've seen him. He wasn't released. He was just not re-signed, apparently. These are just all rumors.
Well, I think that if there's going to be anybody that's going to be able to bring Danhausen into the WWE appropriately, because then you have to look at the lineup. What do you do with him? Yeah, you can have him sit in the crowd or whatever, or you can have him like, mysteriously just kind of walking backstage through an interview or something like that. But we all know that there's the comedy factor. That's who you want, right? So of course, obviously, our boy, the man we've been trumpeting this entire time. Can you imagine tag team between Danhausen and R-Truth?
What's up?
A little bit of R-Hausen.
R-Hausen, you brother, you know what's gonna sell t-shirts. R-Hausen.
The Hausen of Truth. Come on.
This is me and you would both have these shirts next week, and we don't buy wrestling merch, but I would buy that. Come on, give me an R-Hausen shirt.
Yeah.
But yes, Danhausen, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening to this on wherever you're listening to, let us know in the comment section if you think that you would like to see Danhausen show up on WWE TV, if you'd rather see him in AEW again and re-sign there, or maybe go to MLW. Maybe he shows up in Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling Championship. Maybe it's held by Danhausen in the next few years. We'll all have to find out together. But I, for one, want to see Danhausen in World of Wrestling Entertainment. I think that's a perfect fit. I think it's good merch, and can't wait to see what Mattel does with those kind of figures. Those action figures, man. They did well for Danhausen. So